And the Department of Education says half of its workers are losing their jobs. President Trump has said he wants to dismantle this agency. Education Secretary Linda McMahon says the move is meant to ensure that, quote, resources are directed where they matter most, she says, to students, parents, and teachers. We have team coverage on all of this news coming out of the White House for you. We've got Weijia Jiang standing by at the White House. But let's begin with Caitlin Huey-Burns. She's outside the Department of Education right now. Caitlin, good morning to you. I'm curious what you're seeing there now. And I'm curious if Congress doesn't need to approve a dismantling of the agency.
Yeah, hey, great to see you, Errol. We're standing outside the Department of Education right now. This building is closed today. Employees were sent an email yesterday saying you need to vacate by 6 p.m. and it's going to be closed all the way through Wednesday. They didn't describe why. They said that there was a security issue, but not going further. Then later, about half of the staff got those emails also saying that they were being let go. Now, as you know, this total dismantling would require an act of Congress. There are not the votes in Congress to do that. So what we're seeing happen here is very similar to the pattern that we saw with USAID, another agency which was essentially dismantled without the approval of Congress. And Linda McMahon acknowledged in her confirmation hearing that they would need Congress to get rid of the agency entirely, but the plan is to move some of the core programs over to other agencies. Now, the Department of Education, a very small percentage of the budget goes to funding schools. Really, state and local governments provide the bulk of the funding, so it's already done locally. But what the department does is they administer Pell Grants, federal student loans, and more critically, they provide services for students with disabilities and other core programs. Now, the agency says, they insist that those programs will still be delivered even with these layoffs. But of course, there are a lot of questions about what's happening inside this building and what is exactly to come.
All right, Caitlin, really important context there. Thank you very much. Let's cross over to Weijia Jiang at the White House. And Weijia, we were talking about tariffs and the president's evolving messaging as far as his concerns of how those tariffs are connected to a recession. What's the latest on that front?
Well, Errol, you may remember that on Sunday, President Trump was asked, do you think that there is going to be a recession this year? And he said, I hate to predict things like that, and went on to say that in order to successfully implement his economic policies, it takes time. Well, yesterday, Errol, he was asked very explicitly again, do you think there's going to be a recession? And he answered, I don't see it at all. I think this country is going to boom. So what happened between his first answer and yesterday? Well, we saw 2 days of the stock market tumbling on Wall Street. And even though we don't know if it's related, and we know that his aides say, even though he pays attention to Wall Street, it doesn't drive his decision. Certainly, he is the president of the United States, and his words matter. So clearly, there is some sort of a reaction, some sort of link. So the president wants to not only reassure Wall Street, but also Main Street. His message is that everything is great, everything is fine, and he wants American people to essentially bear with him. And he says this is going to be the richest country in the world. It's just going to take a little bit of time in order for that to play out, Errol.
It's a really important point that you make, Weijia, because what any president says can have an impact on the market. And as evidence of this, President Trump made a point to turn the White House into a display area for Elon Musk's Tesla products yesterday. So clearly he does understand the connection between the two, Musk's business tanking at the moment.
Yeah, Errol, I wish that you had some video to show, because it was quite a sight. I've been here at the White House for many years, and I haven't seen anything quite like that, just because the south lawn of the White House appeared to be more of a car dealership for Tesla. There were several Tesla vehicles parked there, and the president was touting each one, asking about each make and model, giving Elon Musk the opportunity to really tout his product. And the president said this isn't just about the cars, but he thought that Elon Musk was being treated unfairly and that he was suffering consequences of his work that he's doing here in the administration to cut tens of thousands of jobs and billions dollars worth of funding. So the president said, look, Elon Musk shouldn't be penalized for that. And that's why he gave this plug and also pledged to buy a Tesla himself. Meanwhile, Americans are looking for reassurances, too, for their own financial futures.
Such a great point. Weijia Jiang at the White House. Great to see you this morning. Thanks, Weijia.